A new series gives viewers an unprecedented look inside America's prisons. It's called, appropriately enough, Inside Story, and it was created by former prisoners, and it's aimed mostly at people who are still serving time. It covers issues like minimum wage, which most prisoners do not get, and the effect of minors being incarcerated with adults. The series includes an interview with two men with firsthand experience of the prison system. Take a look.
So no matter how you look at it, you're gonna be like kind of developing into what's around you. Like they took the years away that was supposed to teach us how to grow up and be a man and replaced it with straight violence.
Yeah. The video series is a joint production between the Marshall Project and Vice News, and Lawrence Bartley, who is a co-creator and the host, joins us now. Lawrence, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
This is a tremendous accomplishment. What was the idea behind it?
Well, you know, during the pandemic, we thought that we wanted to pull the curtain back on the criminal justice system. People were, it was uncertainty on what the pandemic was doing. It was hard to get news on the inside. And about 3 out of 5 incarcerated people have some literacy issues, and that poses a problem because we have a print publication called News Inside, which we try to disseminate information, but if they can't read it, they can't get the info. So we decided to create a TV series that would do just that.
It's a great idea. I mean, we are a visual culture, right? Yep. So this solves that problem. You were incarcerated as a 17-year-old, which speaks to this big issue that nobody seems to think is a good idea except for the prison and justice system itself of putting minors, people who are still children, still developing, in with adults. Talk about the dangers of that.
And you spent over 20 years in prison, we should say.
Yes.
You know those guys saying, you know, what do we learn here? We come out tougher than when we went in. It's not rehabilitation in there, is it?
No, because, you know, I spent 27 years in prison, and at a time where I was learning how to shave, I was just a kid, and I was in there in a maximum security prison with adults. So that's when my brain is developing at that period. And to inject violence, to inject despair, to inject sadness and separation in there, it can kind of take a person for a loop. And 95% of the people who are in prisons and jails come out one day to society.
Yeah.
And that's why we should care.
That's why we all should care.
Right?
Yeah.
They're next to you at Walmart, Lowe's, and we should all care because it affects us all.
Yeah.
When we talk about getting out and becoming a better version of yourself, or becoming, I would say, a more exaggerated version of the person you were when you went in, and that's the separation between the two. This program is available in 1,200 jails and prisons. Why is it important for the currently incarcerated to watch?
Because it's hard to get information on the inside. It's screened very heavily, and the screening process is subjective. And also, a lot of prisons and jails are located in rural areas, and in order to get television programs or like news show that's really robust news shows, you have to rely on the prison administrator's kindness to pay for cable. Or incarcerated people have to come up with a way to sell products that's approved by the administration that they can pay for it. But even so, they don't get news that's relevant to their lives. And this is so relevant to their lives. And not to toot my own horn, but I'm someone who's been there where they are. So they see the reflection of me, and they know that I'm giving them something that's truly real.
By the way, you got your master's degree while you were in prison.
Absolutely.
Congratulations to you on that, Mr. Bartley.
Thank you.
But I think it's important to make this point, because I was one of those people. If you do the crime, then you should do the time. And it's not until, for me, you start educating yourself about the injustices that you see, and how it affects black and brown people in particular. But what do you say to people that said, look, you did the crime, you should be in prison?
Well, you know, prisons are there for a purpose, not to say that everyone should get out. You know,
you're not advocating bad people walking around the streets.
Not at all. But what we're trying to do is to show the world that people in prison are human beings too. They have hopes and dreams just like everyone else. And once they're serving their time, it's better to instill rehabilitation in them. Let them know that education is important. Let them see their families. Let them have phone calls. Let them do all the things that make them feel human, so they come out as kind individuals, not come out with angst, because angst leads to crime, and no one wants that.
You have a woman in there, Tyra Patterson, who said humanity cannot wait for freedom. And that's why it's so important to tell these stories. What were you going to say, Tony?
Well, I was going to ask how you got the access. I mean, this is not PR for the prison system. So, how'd you get the cooperation?
Right.
It's very tough. It's working behind the
Talk to
scenes.
police officers in this?
Yes, I talk to police detectives in there. You know, I call on some of the experiences and some of the conversations I had with superintendents or widely known as wardens. But during my time in prison, I guess to encapsulate it all, I met this security captain. And those security captains, the job is to be hard and stern and to say no of all things. But this security captain told me one day that I have to go home and look at myself in the mirror at night. And if I don't like what I see looking back at me, then I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah.
So by making a series like this, it allows prison administrators to look at it and look at some of the injustices you see and weigh it against what they're doing in their prisons. And I'm hoping that humanity will leak through in them and they'll allow
Holding up a
That's
mirror.
well said, yeah. Everyone could look in the mirror and
humanity.
ask themselves.
Important.
Lawrence Bartley, thank you very much.
Thank you for
Appreciate
having
it.
me. Congrats.
Congratulations
This is
on the
very
project.
good.
New episodes
Very well
of Inside Story air every Thursday on Vice News or at themarshallproject.org. We'll be right back.